Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to do a free criminal background check in New York. To get started, visit newyorkpublicrecords.org. I'll leave a link in the description. You can click on that or just type it into your browser. Now, one thing of note, New York is notoriously pretty hard to access, especially free databases. Now, I will go through arrest information, court records, prison records, things like that. And all of those databases can be accessed for free, but one of the biggest databases when it comes to doing a free criminal background check would be using court records. And New York in particular, unlike other states, is a little bit more difficult to get, particularly get older records. So just keep that in mind. And what I'll do is I'll just go over all the options you have, and at least you're going to be more aware of the options you have available to you in New York. So to get started, hover over other records and click on inmate search. And what you'll notice here, you have your most populous counties. And a criminal record begins with an arrest. So anytime a police officer or sheriff's department arrests somebody, they will charge them with a particular crime. And then they will arrest them, take them to a jail. They'll go through the booking process. And that creates a record. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're guilty, but that already creates a record. And so you're able to research this information by using inmate lookup services. And so each county or sometimes areas will use the same database, but typically each county will have a database that will be run by the local sheriff's department or by the county. And so we have the most populous areas here for you that you can look into if you require an arrest record. So this is where it begins. Next, they have to go see a judge. And I'm going to go ahead and click on court information. And so what you have is you have multiple court systems within the state of New York, anything from the Court of Appeals to family court. And they each do a particular job. So you have, for instance, the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, Appellate. These are upper level courts. And typically the cases that can't be resolved on the lower level courts, they get pushed up. So most of your work you will be doing on the lower level courts. So anything from the Supreme Court of New York, county, city, district, family court. For example, in this video we're talking about criminal records. So you're going to want to look at courts of New York, city, county, and for lower level crimes, city courts. And so you have a database. There is one database that you can actually access criminal records on, but this is where the dilemma lies. In most states, they will let you research records as far back as, sometimes I've seen as far as back as 20 years. So their databases are pretty much complete. They give you pretty much complete access. And in this case, what happens here is this is information. Web Criminal provides information on criminal cases with future appearance dates. So this isn't necessary. So once they have gone through the process, through the court process, you pretty much aren't going to be able to pull it up. But this is a free database that you can use, and I'm just going to try a random name here. You can specifically pick a city or a county here. I'm just going to go ahead and select all courts. And as you can see, it pulled up some information here. Here's a criminal record right here. And so you can look at case details, appearances, charges, things like that. So you got a quick summary here. The date of the incident. You have the arresting agency here. Next, appearance. So if you want to look at appearances here, it gives you the dates of appearances. Then you have your charges. So whatever they got charged with. And so there's quite a few details, but just keep in mind, this only displays things, cases that have a future appearance. So it's not necessarily the most complete thing, but I'm just going over the free resources you have available in the state of New York. So there's only so much I can show you with the limited resources that the state of New York offers. Another thing to consider is if I click on the background check page, at certain counties will provide their own, they're going to provide their own databases. So like at the county, the Court of Clerks offices, not all of them, but some of them do. Like for instance, Queens County here. So you would need to create an account here, and you can research. but the only thing is the information is going to be strictly within the county, so it doesn't go outside the county. So just keep that in mind. And not every single county is going to offer these types of databases. So it's a hit and miss at the county level, and then the statewide resource that you do have available that's for free, it's only for cases that are ongoing. Now, once they go through the court process, there's going to be a guilty or no guilty verdict. Let's say they're guilty, sometimes they'll pay a fine, sometimes they'll have to do time. And so if it's over 12 months, they will typically go to a prison. If it's under 12 months, they'll typically spend it at a local jail. So you can also research this information. Now, let's say if you are interested in more severe crimes, you can go ahead and check out the New York prison inmate system. And all you need is a name here. And you can pretty much, let's see, okay, there's somebody here in custody, so let's see what happens. So you have identifying information, in custody, area, date received, and then of course you have your the crimes they were convicted for, and then of course you have your sentencing information as well. So this database can also be accessed for free. And so even after they have been released, you can still look this information up. So it's a pretty decent database. Like for instance, this record is actually pretty old. It looks like it goes back to 2003. So they keep these things in. Actually, wait, 1999. So wow, so as you can see, like they go pretty far back here in the prison database. So again, you have your the crime they were convicted of here too. So again, that was also free. Something you can utilize. Another thing to also keep in mind is you also have, when it comes to criminal background checking, you also want to check the sex offender registry, and you're able to research by name. You can do by county. You can just type in a zip code, and another statewide database that you can utilize for free. So there you go. We just went over all the available options you have in the state of New York to do a free criminal background check on somebody. Hopefully it was helpful. I wanted to also mention another database here, which is the name search on top. Now, this isn't a free database, but it's an awesome database that you might consider using. It pulls information from public databases, court records, property records, criminal records, arrest information, financial records, things like bankruptcies, maybe financial lawsuits, things like that. It also has access to private databases like cell phone information, previous addresses. So why might this be interesting to you? Well, first of all, it saves you time. Because all of these files, all of these databases are compiled into a single search system, and it pulls records from multiple states, so you don't have to bounce from one database to another, and it's pretty much instantaneous. So you'll know fairly quickly if it's something that's going to be useful for you. Another thing is, let's say the individual you're researching has a criminal past, maybe in the state of Pennsylvania or maybe in Michigan. Now they move to New York. If you're just doing a check in New York or in some county in New York, you're not necessarily going to see what happened in Pennsylvania or in Michigan. So this kind of gives you like more of that nationwide look, and it's fairly quick, and it could be a great resource when you're trying to look up somebody's public record information. So with that said, visit newyorkpublicrecords.org and get started on your free criminal background check in the state of New York. Thank you.